Hey, let's stop playing. A lot of people didn't learn intimacy in marriage. They learned it in the streets. So now we're bringing that same mindset into a covenant, and we're wondering, why does thing feel like it's off? Why does it feel pressured or disconnected?
Yeah, and nobody really talks about that part. You know, what do you do when your spouse wants something a little freaky sexually that you're not comfortable with? But in your mind, you thinking, man, but if I don't do this, I just might lose them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Love ain't perfect.
But truth keeps it real. Charles Melendia.
Just keeping it
Just keeping it real.
in love.
Hey, what's up, fam?
What's up, fam?
All right, just keeping it real in marriage with Charles and...
Melendia.
Yep. Hey, welcome to Thursday's Dose.
Welcome to Thursday's Dose, fam.
Yes. And
So, as we were talking about, you know, what do you do with that?
yeah, that's right.
What exactly do you do with that? You're not comfortable with this. This is different. We ain't never done anything like this now all of a sudden. Or going into it must be a little uncomfortable if you wasn't doing it, if you was doing it before you got married. And now y'all not doing it.
Well, that's the thing. I guess in diving a little deeper into the subject, we'll unpack a few things in there. Could be different situations that may have us where we are right there.
Yeah.
So again, also what happens when the performance issues, they show up and now both of you are dealing with insecurities or fears. You don't want to say things, so you keep it silent.
Yeah. And this isn't a judgment conversation. Not at all.
No, it's not. No, it's a truth conversation. So you learned it wrong. We learned it wrong because we learned it from the streets. So before marriage, these are the things we did. Let's be honest about it. So most people are not building intimacy. They're just building experiences.
That's what we were doing. And those experiences, they don't disappear just because you said, I do.
Oh, no.
They follow you.
Yes.
Yeah, and according to 1 Thessalonians 4, 3 through 5, it says that this is the will of God, that you abstain from such fornication and lust.
Yes. So with that, oh boy, that's a thing. And we have dealt with those situations. We know that most people in relationships, they've either done it before. Really? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we've done it. But we know that that is not God's intent.
Right.
God's intent was for us to keep our bodies pure and holy until marriage.
Yeah, and we know that's pretty rare these days.
That we follow God's, that we're obedient to God's
That's not
word.
what I say.
That is rare.
It's rare.
Yes, right.
That couples are not involved before they get married.
But let's talk about some of the ramifications. That's why we're here with the question. And I want to say thank you, Vaughn, for sending in the question. One of our, I would say, faithful listeners there as well. Thank you, fam. So we most all of us have experienced a sexual, encounter before marriage. But we know that was not God's intent for us. God wanted us to taste of each other after matrimony. And again, we know we have gotten experiences, and that is one of the problems because of that, of breaking that covenant part that God wanted us to have with just one person, before, like during marriage, really.
And it's to me, of course, there's that is a unrealistic expectation for a lot of people. And then people tend to support that by saying, well, I don't know what I'm going to get.
Yes.
That kind of thing. Or, I don't, and that is probably more of our carnal thoughts.
Because we're thinking about what?
what we had
comparisons.
before.
That's what put us there. I remember, man, my grandmother and great grandmother. I remember them asking my sister whether she had married, had been involved. That was before she was married with her now husband, and she said, "No, I haven't done that." And they started laughing. I mean, we talking women, I think at the time they were probably in their 70s to about 90s or something. The two of them, mother and daughter, grandmother, great grandmother. And boy, it was like, it's funny. They used the term, you better be careful. You better look and see or try things out because you might get a pig and a poke.
And I never heard that before in my life. It's got to be a Southern thing.
It's a Southern thing.
I've never heard that before. But the point is,
you might get something you don't want, even after commitment.
But even that age of adults back then,
yes, right.
Thinking that it's okay. But that's all in the carnal sense.
Oh,
that's all in our own in our own mind.
Yes, all
and
of
we
it.
wouldn't have any of this if we had never experienced it.
Right.
So
you think that since we've been married and even during our intimate moments, do we not reminisce or think about, oh, I remember she did this, I remember he did that or something?
Are those experiences
there?
I would
really? I mean, let's be real
that.
about it. Because you unless you've done what we claim God does by casting them in the sea of forgetfulness, right? Come on, man. Does God say
there.
that? Does His Word say that?
Yeah.
He said cast them in the depths of the sea, I believe. Right. Not necessarily that the sea of forgetfulness. So, and I know that even at times, some of those things Satan may bring to mind and say, wow, you even remember when y'all were not married and you had, oh boy, things were good. Now look at this is boring. What I'm saying? And these kind of things exist.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, they do. And excuse me, fam, but he's very dramatic.
Oh no,
so
I'm real.
Absolutely, he's real in his
real dramatic.
He's real in his drama. I think sometimes he missed his calling. He should have been in acting or something because he's pretty good.
Really? I can't.
But on a
I guess we'll talk about this later. Look like offline.
On a serious note, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we know we've been plagued with those things, really. And that's because we bring those experiences, those past experiences, and we're going to say the ones that God had commanded us not to do, we went out and did, and we bring that into our marriage. And on top of what we've been talking about, meaning the order from the garden, on top of all that, we have these issues too. So we have to discover to, move forward. So guess what we do? We walk into a marriage with that highlight reel playing in the mind. Remember what Jody did? Remember what Sally or Susie did? And now your spouse is expected to live up to that expectations, the things that you have. And so fornication teaches you to do what? You're chasing feelings. You're not building any connection. Yeah. And that's what we learn.
Yeah, and that's why some marriages feel so empty. Because the foundation was never connected,
right.
It was an experience. It wasn't a connection, So then, we start practicing certain behaviors. Yeah. And, this isn't new.
So I remember, reading an old Jet magazine. It was an interview by the maestro, Barry White. And you would have thought that he would have been promoting player, get all you can, spread your seed. Hey man, spread your oats before you get old, all this stuff. That demonic teaching that most men and I, we got growing up and hearing that. But instead, in that article, he talked about how he learned, how he developed his ability to please a woman, meaning his wife, over time. And so that right there is the issue, because what he was really saying is that behavior was practiced. So in order to please a wife, you got to practice that. And if you're out here playing the game, that's what you're practicing.
Yeah. And when you practice something, outside of the commitment, you're not building intimacy.
Go
You're
ahead.
just building up performance.
There again, comparison.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now you're going to bring that into the marriage, and then everything now going to have pressure behind it. Oh, when did he do this before? Now let me try to do that. It's comparison and it's competition. So just because you practice that, it doesn't mean you purified it. And what we're talking about is fornication or premarital sex. So Romans 12:2 says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yeah.
So the culture taught us wrong, and we got to admit that. So let's go deeper, because some of this didn't just come from experience. It came again from the things that we were taught. I call my dad. I was probably in my 40s. And I said, Dad, I said, man, why didn't you teach me the truth about women and about life? My dad said, huh? He said, because I had nobody to teach me. Really, not as far as teaching. So these are the things I think men and women, we have to be learned and we have to be taught God's way. Because brothers, what are we being taught? We're being taught that for a long time, guess what? That we're dogs, brah.
Wow.
And even the women say that men ain't nothing but dogs. Now, come on, man.
Yeah. You know, right? And the problem about that, it's been normalized.
Yes.
Right.
You got fraternities hollering about being dogs. You got friend groups, locker room talk, and you even got songs. I'm a dog, I'm a mutt.
Yeah, to this point, the music, the culture.
Yeah.
And there's even jokes about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So, man, you a dog. Like, that's something to be proud of, man. Come on, bro. And, we know pride is abomination. And when you hear something long enough, you're going to start living that thing. And we know this. What gets celebrated is going to get repeated. So Genesis 1:27 says that God created man in his own image. So if you imagine yourself as a dog, then guess what you're doing in turn when it comes to your creator? Because he created you in an image, and God created male and female. Yes, sir, he did.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. And at the same time,
Go ahead.
women's been labeled too.
Oh, yes.
We've been labeled.
Okay. Matter of fact, you've been labeled the female version of the dog. And some women accept that.
Yeah.
And they call each other that. I remember I worked, this was in the 80s, a facility that I worked at, a plant in Winston-Salem, which housed between 5,000 and 6,000 people. I remember two young ladies, they were calling each other from one end of that building to the other. And they were saying, hey, B, good morning, B. And it was, you didn't hear that back then like that. And those two, boy, I tell you, I guess they set a trend.
Well, I mean, it's been going on probably way before them.
I'm sure.
I'm sure. And as, again, we normalize that.
Yes.
We think that that's cool. We think that it's, and as you learn more, you do better.
Hopefully. Yes. Right.
Hopefully.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. But, according to 1 Corinthians 15:33, though, it says, be not deceived
Right.
about evil communication. That corrupts good manners.
Absolutely. Does.
So,
yes.
What
right.
sounds hip and cool, think about that thing.
Yeah. You were created in the image of God. Always remember that. And again, as I mentioned, women call female dogs, objectified, disrespected. And we want to get back to the principles that God set up for Eden.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So now you got two people coming into a relationship. One is taught to chase and the other taught to defend or tolerate.
Yippee-yo,
and we
yippee.
call that normal.
Yes, right.
But remember, when identity is broken,
Yes,
intimacy will definitely be broken.
that is so true. So now we're going to fast forward to marriage. So that same mindset, it don't just disappear.
No.
It's going to show up. How?
It shows up as always needing more, never being satisfied.
Oh, wow.
Always comparing, as we were talking,
Sure.
and always chasing something new.
Oh,
You're
Jesus.
getting bored, always, chasing. And you can't build a covenant with a mindset trained for consumption.
Okay. So you mentioned about the comparison part of this thing. We can go deeper into that if you want.
Sure.
So some of y'all, some of us, we might be laying next to our spouses and we might be mentally gone somewhere else. Might be with somebody else too mentally as well. So 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, 12th verse says that they that compare themselves among themselves are not wise. No. Comparison is not wise on any level.
Right. Just comparing, that's crazy.
Yes. Yeah. So what we do, we compare our energy, we compare our experiences, we compare the spouse. We want to know, hey, can you feel this? And even if you never say it, it's there. So the comparison, it turns into the spouse into competition. And the marriage was never built for that.
Right.
What about the false expectations? Some expectations ain't real.
Right.
They're learned. So Philippians 4:8 says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are honest. It says to do what?
Think
on those things.
Yes.
Not, boy, I remember when, oh man. Come on, man.
Yeah. So, we're talking about you thinking not the true things. So when you get your mindset on that, outside the true things you're thinking on, from porn.
Yes.
You're thinking from past partners, even from the current culture that we're in.
Because the culture tells us things. And now we're expecting our spouse to perform like the things that we look at, whether it's pornographic or those reels. That's what, like, oh, look what she did. Her leg can do that. Oh, man. And now we bringing that home and we putting the expectation on my, she probably didn't see it, but you got expectations for her to do. You want her to flip somersaults and you want her to stand on her head and you want all these things to be done. Because guess what? That's what you saw in that. Really. So if your expectations are built on fantasy, your marriage will always feel like it's lacking.
Yeah.
Because it'll never be enough.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. So let's talk about the pressure.
Oh, pressure, yes.
Yeah, the people who are putting women in that pressure, if that's the case. This is where people lose themselves trying to keep somebody.
Sure.
Doing something that you didn't really want to do.
And it could be men too.
Right.
Really.
Right.
Because
but the question was about, when the person sent it to us, that was her question.
But we're going to expand the question because both husband can be pressured or wife can be pressured.
Yes.
A woman could have experiences that she bring into a marriage and she have for her husband and he not live up to those bad experiences or past experiences. I have seen that before. That's why I say that.
Yeah.
Because I've heard a couple of brothers that I knew came back to say, hey, I'm not that sexual. I'm just not. So it happens both ways. So saying yes to something like that in order or request when you really mean no. If you have to perform to keep somebody, guess what? You're going to lose yourself in the process of trying to keep them. And guess what else? You might still lose them.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the insatiable part.
Okay.
Some people are not looking for connection. They're chasing the stimulation. That's what they want. Wow. So an insatiable person, the appetite is not your assignment to try to fix. Really.
That's deep.
And even it may bring on pressures that even cause for men ED situations. That's you see the advent of the pills. A lot of that might not just be physical situations. It could be the pressures that they're under. So you got the pressure, you got the comparison, you got the fear. Oh,
and guess what?
Lord.
The body will respond to that.
Oh, it's going to respond.
It will respond to that because you cannot perform under that kind of pressure.
Oh, Lord.
And call it intimacy.
No.
You just can't.
So, let's be honest. Are you building intimacy, or are you recreating your past?
Wow. Think about that. And how much pressure has that put on your marriage?
Oh, brother.
How much?
Yeah. And some of us, we didn't just bring love into the marriage. We brought that bad training, those bad experiences as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And now we have to decide, are we going to keep performing like this? Or are we going to start connecting?
Connecting.
Yeah.
Yes.
That there are some necessary changes and some necessary keys that need to take place to change this whole dynamic of what has happened in society.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's what we talk about too. So we don't become roommates
with
with
rings.
rings.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So when that happens, call it what it is.
Okay. So,
No more hiding it.
okay. All right.
No more hiding.
So let's talk about that. No more hiding. So number one, what you're saying, and I want to make sure that I understand. If we are intimate, and I might be kissing you, or we may be making love, and I'm thinking about someone else, then do I need to stop hiding that? And I need to come straight with you? That's what you're
Wait
saying?
a minute.
No, I'm asking
Wait a
question.
minute. We
I'm
didn't
just
took
asking a
a
question.
left turn on that conversation.
No, because
because
okay,
I'm
hold on a
saying-
second, hold on. Okay, I know you. See, you got triggered on that.
why would I get triggered? I get triggered.
No, that one caused you to like.
Yeah, because
wait.
that's stank right there.
No. Let's be honest about it. If someone is hiding that from a spouse, then in order to fix something, what's the first step?
You call it as it is.
You got to bring it out in order to fix something. So if that's you or if I'm with you and I'm thinking about Hot Sally and the way she did things back then and back in the day, then that has to be dealt with.
I'm gonna maybe kind of disagree on
with
that.
him on that.
I think you need to get with your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Because I don't want you stepping up to me.
Could I do my fake Steve Harvey laugh? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
You wouldn't want me to do that.
I need that. And if even for me, come on, think about that, y'all. For real, think about that. We are intimately enjoying each other, and you get a thought, you gonna have me say
I didn't
something
say it right
else.
then. I didn't say right then.
I don't
What if
want
later I'm
to
saying, hey, baby,
hear
it's something I need prayer with, I need help with.
Well,
I
you need to go
deliverance.
to your Lord. That's a one-on-one conversation right there. One-on-one conversation. And
As you
then,
see, my wife don't want me to be totally honest with her.
That's
and
not true.
naked before her.
you can be honest and naked with
But
me
don't bring that.
before me. What we do, we sit down and we say it out loud this way. I've been feeling pressure.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is, I've been feeling pressure.
Okay.
Or I don't feel safe.
I've been comparing as well. If that's
Because
the case.
maybe, I don't know, I got to think about that one.
So, no,
about
hold on.
being, I want you to be honest.
Okay, that's what we're
But
talking about today.
being honest as far as I don't want to be comparing or anything. I don't want to then come to me. I don't want you to be feeling like you got to say, well, don't want to compare you with this chick, because that ain't gonna go well with me.
Okay.
And most women, So if it's a conversation that needs to be, okay, ladies. Okay, somebody want to put in the chat.
Yeah, please. We need some comments
reciprocation here.
Because she you see that caused her to kind of.
Because the thing is, we're not going to be dealing with blaming.
Well, okay.
And then we can stir up something totally different in that conversation. So we got to be sensitive to that.
Sure.
We have to be sensitive. That you can be truthful of how you're feeling, but being selective and what you say.
Yeah, how you doing, boy?
Y'all hear me?
Your whole spirit is changing on this podcast.
It's not.
This is real time,
This
y'all.
is me.
Understand?
It's me.
She didn't know I was going to do that.
No, it's me. But I mean, seriously, but you can't talk about that. I'm not, I don't feel safe. Or if you are expecting me to do some kind of moves that you think you used to do with somebody else, don't you dare come stepping up into me telling me that.
We ought to be honest.
What I say?
It's going to depend on it's going to depend on the spiritual level of your spouse. Because even with men, the Bible teaches to dwell with them according to knowledge. Now, see, I just put this out as a, I guess, a filler, and you saw how my wife just responded. So I couldn't, if I went through, fantasy or whatever, and I was saying it's hot Sally, I'm thinking about it, and then I couldn't come to her about that because she's not ready for
I said,
but I shouldn't be thinking that. And
now, if somebody out here, y'all good with that? Because everything that goes with the Roseburys may not necessarily go with y'all.
Absolutely.
And he already know
now.
And
your wife might be telling you.
I'm saying it. We're talking over each other. I'm saying it on live podcast right now. No, boo-boo.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Okay. We're good.
So, but we're going to talk about it so we can fix it.
So
we're going to talk about it
names, right,
selectively.
Yeah. So no names. Like, what if I find myself fantasizing or thinking on
something
things
you saw, maybe?
What could be. Yeah.
Then you can let me know if you,
don't put a name with it.
Don't put a name, face, or character, nothing.
Okay. Listen, this woman here, she means business because that thing got her. But even vice versa. If you say, Charles, hey, I've been thinking about, so the thing here is that we've got to be honest enough. You have to know how much honesty that your spouse can take or deal with. Yes. But you have to lay these things out.
Yes.
If that's the issue. If you want to say, look, fantasy, bam, and think, I got to get that out. Pray me through. You say, oh, well, you know what? Me too. Sometimes come across my mind. So you have to deal with those things.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's step
That's
one.
step one.
And let's just bring those things on the table, just being honest about them. Okay. How much honesty you have to decide for your spouse. And drop us a note, like I said, whether you agree with the conversation there or disagree with how you may.
But just put out what you're thinking.
Just what you might even suggest or how you may do that as well. We want to hear that. Step two, we want to say remove the performance goals whenever it comes down to love making and intimacy. So right now, a lot of couples, they're treating intimacy like it's a sport. Let's just be, there's a test, the duty, the scoreboard, and they're killing it. If you would, 1 second. I remember as a kid, we as boys used to say things, and it almost seemed like in a sport. Yeah, boy, I'm gonna make her do this and that. I'm gonna do. It was kids because that was the mentality. Oh, who am I mocking?
No, I don't know. Maybe he's marking himself.
Okay, mother-in-law. I remember you say the voices I get from there. That was us as kids. So I'm just saying.
That's him marking himself as a kid.
Yeah, okay. Right. So just to be clear. Okay. So the thing about it, we had done things or said things. We had concepts of things, making her, you had stupid stuff like climbing the walls. It was just stupid things that we heard. And what I'm saying, all that bad teaching as young men, and I know even as young women, we get street knowledge that we try to hone into a godly institution. Now just think, street knowledge, godly institution. We're going to need godly knowledge to bring for this thing to work in a godly institution.
Yeah.
So there's no scoreboard. So what we need to do, we need to take the intercourse off the table for a few days. I mean, really, seriously, let's do that. Yeah. And we need to focus on our connection because I think once we're connected, the other comes naturally.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the touching, the being present part of this thing. And even, again, as we say, being connected first, performance later.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
shift that connection.
Yes, right.
Yeah. That's important.
It is.
That's really important.
It is.
Step 3, eliminate the comparisons on purpose.
Yes.
Comparison doesn't leave on its own. You have to cut it off.
Yes,
you have to cut it off. So what you should do is identify certain triggers.
Sure. And once you identify those triggers, then we need to remove those triggers.
Yeah.
Whether that is scrolling social media, you know, pornography, period. You know, all those
being
things.
in places.
Go ahead.
Being in places that you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Without your spouse, because we know of some people. They go to certain clubs without their wives. Now, remove those things.
Some women go to clubs without their husbands.
Yeah.
Because then that's the same thing. Because again, what does that do? It's comparison going on.
Yeah.
You know, in those places, you're seeing men, women, whether they gyrate, take their clothes off, or try to get people excited. We know the deal there, and I guarantee you there's comparisons going on. Look at them, but whoa, look at them, like get that. Oh man, my wife's hers. My husband's his is that. Yeah, we're
those
doing
type of memories keep you entertained,
right. And let's be real.
And it replaces the thought immediately.
Sure.
Like, this is my spouse.
Oh man, like boy,
we're building our story.
Yeah,
you know, those type of things.
Sure.
You know, but have the hard truth. You know, do the solid thing. You can't build something new while replaying something old. That never happens. Right. That will never happen.
And the other thing is you got to set boundaries.
Step 4.
Right, step 4. You got to set the boundaries around what's okay. And that ought to be, and it should be, again, I just said, we cannot take worldly training, street education, and apply it necessarily to a spiritual institution.
Right.
So with that, we must say, we know that's not okay because that's not according to God's word. Because if we only took the things we learned from the street, then we'll be touting open marriages and all this other stuff that's a bunch of nonsense. Because again, that's not what God set up. It's you and your spouse. It's oneness between the two of you.
Right. And
God in the middle of that thing, or you know, basically supporting that institution or that marriage. So again, you have to set the boundaries, what's okay, and where we're going to avoid certain issues. And what you do, you have that conversation. And what are you comfortable with? You know, what crosses the line for you?
Right.
What feels like pressure versus what feels like love, you know, in this relationship. And both need to voice our, make our voices matter and make them known. And the key principle here is agreement, but a mutual agreement,
right.
Not just being silent and compliant.
Right.
So, and
that's mutual respect.
Yes, right.
Step 5, address the root issue.
Yes.
Not just the symptom.
Right.
If somebody is insatiable, always needing more, never satisfied, that's not a sex issue.
Right.
That's a heart issue.
Yes, it is.
So what do we do about that? We ask deeper questions.
Yes.
We ask deeper questions. What are you really needing?
You know? Yes, because I just on that subject there, I remember there was a certain guy we had listened to and said he had a sex addiction. We heard several, people say that. And when you hear people that they say they get married, is getting married the solution to being insatiable or insatiable, as some say?
That's the solution.
So we know that's not it. So in other words, if you're a drug addict, do you get more drugs? I'm saying, does that ease the addiction? Does it satisfy the addiction? No, because of, again, food. If food is an addiction, do you eat more, to cure or heal the problem? So the same thing with sex. If you can't be satisfied, getting more sex won't do it.
Yeah.
There's an underlying problem, and you just ask the question, what do you really need?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then where is all of this coming from?
Where is it coming from?
There's a deeper issue here. Is this stress and security or past habits? You really have to discuss those type of topics and deal with the hard truth.
Sure. And the hard truth is, guess what? The enemy doesn't want marriages to succeed. So let's know all this stuff. We label everything a person deals with. We put stress on it. Just about, come on, let's get deeper than stress. Number one, that's the enemy wants to come against relationships. So unless God get us there and deliver us, guess what? We'll be looking and running to something else to satisfy us when we cannot be satisfied. And that is a trick of the enemy.
Yeah.
To tell, well, she ain't enough. We need at least, I've heard something, boy. And as a kid, I was growing up in the church. And I remember the teacher, Sunday school teacher came. He was teaching a lesson. He said in that lesson that God has said that for every man, there's 7 women in his lifetime or something. 7 women. And I'm like, oh. And he said, and I'm going to make sure I get all mine. Now, this was a man like older than I was teaching this lesson. So I think
ignorance, that compounds is just, but realizing that you can't fix a spiritual or an emotional void with physical effort.
Nope.
You just can't.
Cannot.
No.
Right.
No.
So we talked about the ED problem as well. So even with that, it can be handled with honor
and grace,
and grace as well, and not shame, because it's a critical thing. Because again, a lot of times it's psychological, and if somebody's beating you or pressuring you and doing that, then guess what? By them making fun, that's going to pressure you even more, put you deeper in that state. So for men, stop trying to identify your tying your identity to your performance.
Right.
That was one thing growing up. When you hear stupid stuff, and I got to say it, if you sing it, get all you can get, and the boom, kind of things.
I don't know
that is,
mimicking.
Huh?
I don't know who he's mimicking.
Don't worry about who I'm trying to do. Baby, it's the fact of I am mimicking the men that have told me that, the brothers that have told me that coming up. Man, get all you can get and all this set. And then I'm trying to play that out in life as I got older. I tried to play that thing out. And one day it just got to a point where I say, what are you doing? It was a mindset. What are you doing? You're not. And that reminded me back to the article I read from Barry White. What are you practicing? You're not practicing being a husband. You say you want that, but you're practicing this. And I'm telling you, you cannot tie your identity or your malehood, your masculinity to your sexual performance.
Yeah.
And if you're dealing with any of those issues, get spiritual help first. I'm going to say, ask God who made your body. And if you need, get medical help.
Yeah.
And if you need to reduce the pressure on yourself when it comes down to women or your wife, not just women, I'm not saying. So don't personalize it. And women, don't shame the man. Speak life to him and not frustration. Right. So the key here is pressure makes it worse. Peace helps it heal.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah. So
say that again. Yeah. That's so true. So
what'd you talk about?
The pressure, it makes it worse. When you're going on and not giving situations attention that needs it,
sure.
And the pressure, putting the pressure like that on a man.
Yeah.
Even if a woman is dealing with things.
Sure.
We had a situation in our lifetime where, I was dealing with a lot. I was dealing with a lot and wound up having to have surgery, to maintain that.
Sure.
And that was, it would have been so, I would say, hurtful if you did not understand what I dealt with by putting any pressure on me on things, knowing that I wasn't able to provide you what you needed.
Because again, we talked about a person being insatiable or not satisfied, doing that kind of situation. You may say, well, if you can't give it to me, then I get it somewhere else. That kind of foolish talking.
Yeah.
And then you just say that's reason. You may use that as a reason, but really it becomes an excuse for you wanting to do what you wanted to do all along.
So peace definitely helps. It heals.
Sure. Right.
And number 7,
we got to rebuild the intimacy.
Yeah, rebuild the intimacy from the ground up.
Sure, yeah.
You don't fix this thing overnight.
Oh, no.
You have to rebuild it.
Yes, right.
So what do you think we could do then?
Well, number one, we can spend time. And I would say, I think 15 minutes is
as long as it takes.
30 minutes, just set some time aside to address How are we doing? You know, and we talked about it as far as a check-in. Whatever time you need, just check in with each other emotionally, you know, spiritually as well, and even physically.
And if it's anything, do we need to talk about anything?
Sure, right.
You know, we just have that open dialogue with each other.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, even when it comes down to affection, we can do non-sexual, you know, hugging, touching. And if it progresses to
it is what it is.
Yeah. No boundaries there. Yeah. And then 2, you know, holding hands, getting back to those, my hands in there.
Okay.
Just hold my hand, woman, stop all that. Just kidding. Okay, so, you know, even the pressures that we deal with, pressure-free time, you know, and we just enjoy each other.
Not having those expectations, I think, you know, because consistency builds safety.
What you mean expectations?
If I'm hugging you, if you get a hug and then you all of a sudden, that's what you expect.
What you talking about? Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, because as I say, consistency, it builds safety. It makes a person feel, especially a woman, feels more comfortable and relaxed in that type of atmosphere. You know, it also it could enlighten and build intimacy.
Okay, and I think so, because I think most time with I'm not saying every man, but we think intimacy is bedroom related, and we've got to change the mindset there. So we can also reset our identity here with this thing. This is this is a major deal here. So we're not our past performances and all these old partner expectations that we had, and we shouldn't bring that here in our marriages. Right. So individually and together, what should we do? We talk about praying together, and let's reflect and let's recommit to doing this thing God's way. Right. And like I say, that street learning, that street education, and that old falsehood stuff, throw that out the window. Right. And let's get with God's truth, man. And you don't need any more of those experiences. We need to be transformed. As the Bible says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yes, yes.
So,
yeah. Those are some great keys and expectations within your marriage.
Yes, right.
That you really should take on if you're dealing with situations like that, or if you know someone that's dealing with things like that. Because it's important for your marriage to be transparent when you have situations that can cause a separation. Sure. Because that's what the enemy is waiting for.
Definitely division is what he's about.
Yeah.
It's not like people coming together in unity. Does not like that.
Yeah. So this is a good one. I think this is a good one. I hope it was a good one for you guys.
Yeah, too. Definitely. Right. We were honest about it, open about it, and have those open conversations, as we say. And if this hits you, then don't just sit on it. Reevaluate yourself, your relationship, and then make the necessary changes. And we ask you, send us comments so we can have that camaraderie going. Yeah. And share this with 3 to 5 people, a couple.
Well, as many as you want.
Yeah, definitely. Right. And we got something for you as well. We talked about our free guide, and we want you to comment there. For the free guide, it's the ebook, The Order That Heals, as we talk about the Garden of Eden and the Eden, and then even with the order that God has set up. Meaning, God is the head of Christ, Christ is the head of every man, and the man is the head of the woman. And that's the order that God set. This puts it in a different perspective, because I say with myself, I know that I was doing this thing wrong, and I know that we both discovered that we were doing this thing wrong and not doing it God's way. So we put it in perspective, and we're a work in progress, and asking God to help us. Even at 40 years of being married, 40 and a half, really.
40 and a half. You're on that half mark.
So, definitely. So we're asking God to help us to get there. So if you would, in the comments, and, drop it in. Order that heals. And let's start fixing this thing today. Fix the brokenness. Right. Yeah. And we'll send you that free ebook. Start your journey of healing as well. So what do you think?
Yeah.
Stop talking about it. Yeah. Let's be about the change, okay? And actually do something.
Yeah. So thanks so much for letting us be in your living room. And we hope that you have been able to equip yourself with what we teach. Biblical truths honest dialogue
Yes.
and practical strategies. So we all may build marriages that last forever and ever and never settle for roommates. Who rings?
Yep. Hey, also, we want to announce our next podcast will be an interview that we did a while ago.
We did an interview.
Yes.
That it was amazing with an amazing couple who's you want to be there to see and hear. Miss Nella, who is the amazing host.
Right, moderator. She does some coaching as well.
Coach that we have spoken with and been dealing with for the last year or so.
Yes, right.
And
My
her
Seven
husband.
Figure podcast.
Yes.
And her husband, J Star. Who does the theme song for the morning meetup.
Yes.
Hosted by David Shands.
And he's got some music that he's really inspiring. So you want to come next week.
And hear their story. Again, we listened to people, they were at the time had been married just over a year. And we, at 40 years, we listened and we exchanged ideas and we shared their experience. And I think it will really inspire you as well.
Yes.
So again, stay tuned. And we may do that, I think, in a 2-part series because it was a long interview.
It was juicy, so we had to split it up.
So we're going to do that. So again, check us out next week. Just keeping it real in marriage with Charles and
Melendia.
Yep. All right. Be blessed. Love you all. Peace out.
Bye.
Yeah.
Love ain't perfect.
But truth keeps it real. Charles and Melendia.
Just keeping it
Just keeping it real.